What's up? Welcome to the Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 63, and I am Adam Choate. And of course, I have no affiliation with the band. This is not an official podcast or anything. I am just a fan. And if you're checking out this show, I'm guessing there's a good chance that you might be too. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I am on video too, and now going to be releasing full video episodes moving forward. And yes, I do have some notes and some text in front of me, so if you see me reading, that's I'm not hiding that. I'm just trying to get used to the whole video podcast thing, and I'll get more and more comfortable, I'm sure, but bear with me. And I wanted to give a special thanks to my new friend, Lee Nason, a podcast producer who helped me get set up here. Check him out at Polar Star Podcast. That's at Polar Star Podcasts and polarstarpodcasts.com. Besides some new lights and some new gear and things like that, I hope you guys like my new living room setup, the studio background. You see my set lists over there and some TTB albums, Susan albums, other knickknacks, family heirlooms or whatever, so to speak, filling the space. This is exciting. It's a bit nerve-wracking, I will say that, but I really do want to up the quality of the content that I put out there. And of course, the consistent element from week to week of the show is, of course, me. So it's probably good for the show that I put myself out there more. It's part of like growing a trust between a podcast host and an audience. And I appreciate when other content creators and streamers and podcasters release video of their episodes. It's just, it makes for a better experience. So here we are. But to follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. And for the YouTube channel, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. That's the name of the channel. I'm at Adam Choate on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me, ADAMCHOIT. Please be sure to subscribe on wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening, or if you're not, iTunes, Spotify, or whatever. And be sure to definitely subscribe. And 5-star positive reviews on iTunes are helpful for sure. So please help me out there if you can too. And I have another podcast. It's called People We Love. And what I do with that one is interview people from all walks of life. Most often comedians and other creative types, and casual conversation about their lives and careers. But I also ask them to highlight the people they love, who inspire them, influence them, help them in their career and their personal life. And that's been a lot of fun too. So check that out at People We Love Podcast and peoplewelovepodcast.com. And video is coming soon for that one too. Let's see what I got here. So today I'm joined by now 3-time guest of this episode, superfan, TTB superfan, and expert concert goer, David Flamm. He was on episodes 4 and 41. He was nice enough to agree to be my first video guest here. And our conversation took place on August 22nd. And he tells me all about the TTB show he went to the night before, August 21st, at Coolray Field in Lawrenceville, Georgia. We cover a lot, including David highlighting his, or telling me about the highlights of his 8-show run earlier this summer as part of the Fireside Tour that the band was on. But let's just get into it. Here's David Flamm. Okay, so it's good to see you today, David Flamm. Thank you for joining me on the first video podcast of the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast.
The first video, and you had the ugliest crazy fan on, so it works out perfectly.
I don't think you're neither, to be honest with you. I've been sort of in ingrained in this community for some time, and you don't take the cake in either of those categories. That's a compliment.
I'll take it as one.
Oh, for sure. How you been holding up during this super fun, what is it, 2021, whatever year it is?
Yeah, it's 2021 now. It's been a roller coaster, Adam. It was real scary early on last year. And, then my wife and I got the vaccine and we felt like things were going great. And then the last couple of months, I guess the new variant has definitely reared its ugly head. And, we're staying as safe as we can. We do most of our activities with other people outside, and that's just kind of how we're rolling right now.
Yeah, we're all doing our best to try to do what we can to be safe for sure. It's a crazy world, my friend. What a crazy world. Why don't we talk music? Because that's one of the few, things we can that it can or good escape,
There you go.
from reality, which is necessary to have some escape, I think.
Makes me feel good. You know,
Yeah,
it.
go on.
I would say nothing makes me feel better than seeing and hearing Derek and Susan and the band live. Nothing puts a smile on my face more than that.
Yeah, it's like medicine. It's medicine, and even like seeing them live is like a big dose. It's like or something like that. And even me just listening to the show that you went to last night, which we'll get into, like, it's medicine for the soul. Like, and every TTB show is slightly different, as I've talked about, a million times with a bunch of guests. And you've been on a little bit of a run this summer with the Fireside tour, and you've been on a few shows, so you can kind of go through some of the ones you've been on and some of the highlights from those musically or your experiences with other fans, and I'll kind of give you
Sure.
the timeline, and then we could recap last night's show, which I've had a chance to listen to a little bit of it, which was posted. But tell me about the shows you've been to recently.
Yeah, yeah. So last night was the first one after an 8-week hiatus for us. We were fortunate, as people might remember. We live in the Atlanta area, and when they kicked off the Fireside Live, they started in the Southeast. And first two shows were in Jacksonville, their hometown. And I think as we had talked about, and you talked about with a lot of other fans on the podcast, that it was a big deal to try to get down to the first one in well over a year.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
So to see that, and so that was great to get to the first shows back was real exciting. Daly's Place is not a great venue as far as when you talk to most people. It's mostly concrete, very hot and everything. But it was just great to see the band live, and as we now know, they dove into a lot of Susan's solo work and everything. So it was really cool to hear all those songs, and again that those nights we were hearing a lot of stuff in the what I call the Smoking Six version, so without the horns and all the backup, although Gabe and Mike certainly added a lot of vocals. But yeah, those first two shows were really exciting, and we ended up booking 8 shows. So we did the two in Jacksonville, then we did one in Huntsville, Alabama, two in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, two near Charleston, and the last one we did was in Columbia, South Carolina, which was really cool, and I guess an old abandoned speedway that was revived strictly for concerts during COVID. So I don't think it had been used in, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. And they converted it into a pod situation in the infield of this old abandoned racetrack. And
That was the show you went to. I was gonna say that was the show you went to last night.
no, that was the last one in June.
Oh,
The
last
run
of
of
that run.
eight, the run of the
Mhm.
8 at the very beginning. I think we saw 8 of the first 10, and the one in Columbia I thought was really cool. It was a great venue. I'm not sure if I'm in the minority or majority, but I really love the stripped down version. I love the outdoor. I like the pod situation where you're kind of spread out. If you're dancing and grooving, you're really not affecting anybody else. Everybody's kind of got their space. You stand up as a big guy like me. I'm not bumping shoulders with the two fans on either side of me in a small theater. Obviously, during the winter, things will, I guess, be inside. But really enjoyed the outdoor settings. I know we've got a lot of friends up in New York, the Northeast, and they got a lot of great shows and seen a lot of the videos. A lot of cool venues that they played at. There was one, I guess Martha's Vineyard they were on, something in with the pine trees or something. Just gorgeous venues that we were seeing, and we had a nice dose of that, in the Southeast to get started. Um, Couple of highlights: Dave Yoke, who some of you might know. Dave played with Susan's band for a while. He's in the kind of local group, the Murder Hornets. He also plays in Scrap-O-Matic. He sat in with them in Huntsville. I think he's originally from Anniston, Alabama, lives in the Atlanta area now, but he sat in with them on that show, which was really cool. And then probably the biggest buzz of the whole tour so far was Marcus King sitting in Murfreesboro one night. He sat in a memory of Elizabeth Reed and The Sky is Crying.
Yeah, those are awesome. Of course, those were caught on video and audio. It was by you, I think.
Yes, I did
had
post
the
those.
best video of that.
And we can always plug my YouTube channel. It's just under my name, David Flamm. And I did record both of those. It was hard to kind of try to watch it and film it at the same time, but I knew that was a special thing that I wanted to share with as many friends as possible. And
it's appreciated.
Yeah, it actually exploded my my YouTube channel. I think the In Memory of Elizabeth Reed has 50 something thousand watches or something. It just it went.
I believe it.
Yeah, kind of went through the roof. But that was real exciting to to see Marcus play with him again was really really exciting and cool. You see the smiles on everybody's face when he joins in, and it just really I think picks everybody up, and was a great time. And all the venues were just great. Again, each one had its own character. I think in Huntsville we were in a parking lot. And I think in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, it was like a brewery. They put up a stage in a field outside a brewery, which was really cool. And I think you had Larry on your show at one point. I think he was talking.
Yeah, Larry
about,
James.
Larry James was talking about the beautiful venue down in Charleston, right along the river there. We did have a celebrity sighting there. Bill Murray was at both of those shows. That was kind of cool. He was rocking out. We saw him. He was actually yelling for them to turn it up. I think he was just busted chops, But he was at those two shows, and like I say, each venue just had its own character and space. It was back to the show in Columbia, South Carolina. It was funny. There was some young guys in a pod, a couple over from us, and Susan had finished a song, and they started chatting, like, I don't know, asking about song or whatever, and she just chatted it up with him, and then it's like, wait a minute, I can't talk to y'all. I got to get up here and play music. She was just having fun chatting with the fans. We saw a couple of a lot of younger kids. Some families were out at the shows, and I think two of the shows we saw kids that were holding up signs saying it was their first concert. And Susan acknowledged that, and it was really cool. And I think some of those folks got treated real special. As a matter of fact, the show last night, we can dive into that a little bit deeper. But last night, a friend of mine, is I usually do a lot of Facebook Live, because I like for my friends to be able to experience the show at the same time I'm doing, and that's why my videos on my channel are probably a little bit different than most people's, because most of them come from Facebook Live. But a friend of mine had said, I want to go see TTB. He goes, I always see your videos. You're always having so much fun. I want to go. So he ended up buying tickets and took his young son to the show. And at the end, they kind of ended up near the front by us. And his son was videoing and just loving it, saying it's the best concert I've ever been. He just couldn't believe how great the live music was, and we were able to score Derek's slide for him at the
Wow,
end of
there
the
you
show.
go.
So Derek tossed the young man the slide, and he was just over the moon. And he goes, "There's no concert that'll ever top this." And
That's what
I
I
don't
was
know.
gonna say. It's like, how do
Yeah,
you match that,
yeah,
follow that?
yeah. He's like 10 or 12 years old. He's thinking he's already seen the best he's going to see. So it was nice
Probably
of it.
true.
It
And
could
10,
be.
12 is kind of like old enough where you know what's going on. It's not like he's like clueless, and it's not like 5 years old. This is the best thing. Like 10, 12, he's heard other music. He knows kind of what's out there, and and I feel like fans like us, I suppose, or longer term fans, you forget that there's new people like discovering this whole world and all this music like all the time. And that's wild to go from not knowing this music to it being like the best thing you heard of. That's like it's a big leap, but I feel like we've all kind of made that leap, in terms of
Absolutely.
how much we love the band and how quickly that, you know, becomes evident.
Yeah. Well, as we talked about before, I mean, there's people that have been into Derek's music and Susan's music a lot longer than I have.
Right.
I discovered them in 2013, as we talked about before at the Wani Festival, and kind of got introduced to Derek's music through joining the Allman Brothers and that kind of thing. And but I've packed a lot of them into that since I first discovered them in 2013, and I'm always loving for new people to experience it and really you know get into it, get bitten by the bug, and want to go see the shows. Obviously, it makes it harder to get tickets because they don't play the biggest venues. But hey, as long as they're enjoying the music and having a good time, it's just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
No, for sure. As long as I get to see and hear the band, that's all that matters. No, it's cool that, their fan base is growing. It's great for for the band. Of course. We can get into the show you saw last night, and you could start telling me about that experience
Sure.
for sure.
Well, last night they played suburb of Atlanta. It's called Coolray Field, one of the Atlanta Braves minor league teams. That's their home. So it's really a kind of an interesting layout that the stage was in center field, and they were selling tickets, in the seats of the stadium, which were considerably far away from the stage. And then you had like what they called VIP pods. I think there was maybe 32 of those, and you had to have a wristband to get in there, and they were numbered, and you could have either 2, 4, or 6 people, I think, in a pod. And then they had what they called kind of GA pods around the side on the field as well. So don't really know how many people were there. It was pretty socially distant, I guess, for the most part. And Gabe Dixon, his trio opened, I think, for the first time. I think playing, opening for TTB, and he played, I guess, from about 8 to 8:40 or so. Half dozen songs or so, and got real good reception from the crowd. His keyboard playing is great. His vocals, songwriting. I mean, it was really nice to hear his stuff. A lot of people have probably heard "Lay It on Me," which they've been playing during the intermission. I think during the Fireside Live. So he played that and a few other songs, and so that was awesome. So everybody was feeling, since they had an opener, there would only be one set, because the time frame and everything. So we were thinking, probably one set, maybe it'd be two. We weren't really sure, and so they quickly moved Gabe's equipment off a three-piece, really nice, really good drummer and bass player, and himself on keyboards and vocal. And they moved their equipment off, and they were setting up. And all of a sudden, at the last minute, you see them put another microphone over next to Mike's. And so people started talking, and they're like, "Oh, well, we know that Mark Rivers and Kebby are both from the Atlanta area, but the
Right.
mic was set up, I thought, more for vocals than for saxophone. So I thought, wow, maybe Mark is going to join them for the first time. And sure enough, Mark came out with them. So it was a 7-piece last night for the first time. So that was pretty exciting.
Were
And
people yelling for Mark, and when he came out, was there a reaction specifically for him that you saw and heard through the crowd?
absolutely, absolutely. A couple people saying, "Who's the new singer? Who's the new singer?"
They're messing with him, and they're messing with the band.
Yeah, yeah.
I see, that's fun.
And you could really see, I thought, additional smiles on the stage. With him there, you could see Susan and he smiling several times. And him and Mike, fist bumping and stuff like that they normally do, and it was really cool. And when I looked at did get a hold of a set list afterwards, and they had "Do I Look Worried" first and "Made Up Mind" second, and I guess they flipped it.
Right.
I guess they flipped it, on the fly, and I guess maybe with Mark there. So obviously he featured really, incredibly on "Made Up Mind" to kind of start the show off, and it really was. It was a great beginning to, to him being on there with the 7-piece.
Oh, for sure, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was really awesome. And I think as we had kind of talked about before we got on here, people can see there's a guy named Z-Man here in the Atlanta area, and he actually filmed the whole show, and I think it's out there on maybe on the fan page or something. And then he also dropped the audio on the archive already. I think I already saw today that it's already up.
Right, I've been able to dig in a little bit, on the audio. I heard "Made Up Mind" and "Do I Look Worried" and some other songs from the show, so I tried to, catch up. We're recording this on, Sunday, whatever, what is it, the 21st, Sunday morning, the 21st, and the show what is it, the 22nd?
Yeah, no, 21st. Yeah, is it? No,
No, it's the
22nd.
22nd, Sunday the
Today's the
22nd. The show you're
22nd.
talking about was on the 21st last night, so I haven't been able to get through the whole set list, but I'm pretty sure, and it sounds like you're pretty sure, the reason they flip-flopped the first 2 songs was because they felt the energy that Mark was getting, and it was exciting. Must have been exciting to have Mark Rivers back for the first time in a while, and obviously he features on "Made Up Mind," like you were saying, so they wanted to just dive right into it. And "Made Up Mind" is obviously a upbeat thing, an upbeat tune, so to start a show with that is never a bad idea. They'll close with that. Like, that's the thing about this band. They could open, close, put any song in, like, not necessarily any order. There's definitely a method to the madness, but they have so many songs that are super strong and loved so much by the fans that they could open or close with really almost anything. Would you agree?
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, that's one of the things, you never know what's going to come first. Never know, and it's
They don't
always
know until, in this
yeah,
case, last night, until
yeah, yeah.
right,
So
right before they started.
yeah, we do know usually though. I know Derek loves "Do I Look Worried" in the second slot. He loves that. So
Right. Show me the
that
set
was it.
list. Show me the
Huh?
set list. Show me the set list. There it is
So
right there. He got it. Is it signed by anyone?
no signatures.
That's
No,
okay.
just
Yeah, we see
uh,
the first 2 flip. I guess this is kind of spoilers
yeah.
for ahead, or it could be a thumbnail for YouTube. Another idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So, and then they went into "Anyhow" third, and as usual, Susan just killed it, and she took the first big lead on "Anyhow." It was amazing, just amazing. First 4 songs were all originals, and "When Will I Begin," which is just beautiful ballad that Susan just owns. And then I got to hear for the first time for Ann and I, my wife and I, "Gin House Blues."
yeah, I love that. I love that they're doing that. So I'm not even familiar with. It's a cover. I mean, I haven't dug too much
Yes,
in
it
the
is a
history.
cover. It is a cover, and I had heard, I think they were playing it some, in the Northeast. They played it a few times, this summer. So I had not, and I'd seen it on video and stuff like that, but I hadn't caught it live. And Mike just you know, as he always does. He kills it. And Gabe has a great, keyboard piano section.
Right. I just listened to it like an hour ago. That track with both of those guys featuring on it and doing awesome, tasty stuff on the keyboards, and Mike on the vocals. He has just so much like control, but also range. He gets up there high too. When the mood and the moment and the song is sort of climaxing or crescendoing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed Gin House Blues. I thought it was awesome. One of the things I did notice, Adam, was Gabe did not do any lead singing last night during the set. And then I thought about it. I said, well, maybe that's because he did his own set and was singing for 40 minutes straight. With
Right,
his,
exactly. Right,
so I
you can
thought,
see
well,
my mind because this is video for the people who are watching on video. Can see now when I respond with facial expressions. I'm like, oh yeah, or I know why, or oh that's surprising. Like, but yeah, that makes sense. But I thought maybe he would get one song, especially since they played a long set with no breaks. But I guess yeah, that's what Mike is there for, and Mark there
yeah,
tonight also to lean on.
yeah. So I guess that's what so it did kind of make sense. Like hearing him, sing some of the songs he does, whether it's whatever. Don't Keep Me Wondering, Dreams, some of the other stuff that he does. Is always welcome. But I think maybe they gave him, like I said, a little break because of his own kind of doing his own thing.
I think
And then
so.
I figured after they went into the start of the next song, which kind of flipped me out in the sixth spot, was Bound for Glory. And usually you're not going to hear that early. And I was like, well, I think it's just going to be one set. When they played Bound for Glory in the sixth spot, I was like, wow. I wasn't sure what we were getting. Obviously looked at the shows, kind of before, and you're like, oh, well, maybe, they just played this, so maybe they'll slide over to something else or whatnot. And knowing that this could have been the last Fireside Live show. I know they're talking about the full band at Lock-In, and then they've got a few other gigs after that. I don't know if that's full band or not. I think they're playing at Merle Fest and then something else. So I don't know if last night was kind of the end of the Fireside officially or not. So
Maybe they don't know.
Yeah,
That's otherwise, because it would make sense to announce full band officially or promote that or push that for, if it was going to be the case.
Yeah, well, I know they're pushing it for Lock-In, and Ann and
I have heard this.
Yeah, we're kind of debating whether or not it's about a 7-hour ride for us from Atlanta. So we're contemplating last minute doing that. So we haven't officially said yay or nay on that, but we're contemplating that. And Bound for Glory is, I mean, one of, if not my favorite of their originals. It just, that song gets me every time.
Yeah. Church.
Yeah.
Their church.
Yeah. And my son, who's 31, his favorite song is Anyhow. And so we caught that last night as well. And I Facebook Live for that. And I saw him on there watching it, and he texts me. He's like, Dad, I'm like, I know, I see you're on here. So
that makes it worth it to record it, I'm sure, right? Just that alone.
Yeah. So knowing that he was kind of, viewing that at the same time as we were, was really cool. And then we got, some of the Layla. We got Bell Bottom Blues and Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? And, obviously Derek's lead on Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad is just, pretty much legendary at this point. And I know a lot of people were talking about that, right after the show. People say, I know a lot of folks were saying that was one of the highlights of the show for them. And it's always just brilliant, so that was another highlight of the show. And then Susan featured on her song Just Won't Burn, one of her songs, which they featured throughout this summer. And anybody that has seen it on one of the shows knows It's just a great blues tune, and she owns that one. It's great. I didn't know that very well before seeing it, 3 or 4 times this summer, and certainly
Same, yeah.
fell in love with that song, no doubt. I mean, just kills it. And then we got, which to me has been one of the just pick me up of the summer, is Part of Me, right? And that's a big horn song as well, but Gabe does a great keyboard section on that, and they kind of stretch that out. I think I thought that was more like a 4 or 5 minute song, and now it's approaching 8 to 10 minutes.
Right. I feel like they've taken that song to so many different places, in a good way, in a great way, in some way, and in some ways necessary to make changes, and based on personnel and who's there and who's singing and who's playing horns, and starting the song with solos and adding different people and different solos and different sections. That song has had so many different incarnations of it, with and they're all great.
All wonderful.
To
And
pick me up, like you say, the song has that
yeah,
sort of pick me up, sort of Sam and Dave kind of vibe to
yeah.
it.
You can just kind of see everybody kind of moving to it. Everybody gets into a groove. And again, as I said, it's on video and in audio. If it's out there. And she did a part that I hadn't heard, and she maybe has done that before this summer. But she was kind of talking to the audience that you're a part of me, we're a part of you. It was very kind of relationship to the audience and everything. I thought that was cool. I didn't see that at any of the earlier shows I had been.
And she means that.
Yes.
And it's spontaneous, and it's coming from her heart, I'm sure. It's like, and I don't think you get that from like all bands and from all individuals in bands out there. Like, that's like just the way you were describing, Susan interacting with fans with in all of our conversations. Like, she legitimately cares about the fans. Like,
Yeah. Again, they go to that one in Cologne when she was like talking to some of the fans from the stage there. It was so like she was having a private conversation on stage with the people. It was crazy. And she's like, "What am I doing here? I got to be playing." She goes, "I got to get back to my day job." I think that's what she said. She said, "I got to get back to my day job," and she was chatting, and so after Part of Me, and as everybody knows that's been to a ton of shows, and I'm gonna toot my horn. Last night was number 65 for me, so that was my 65th show. So sometimes you kind of can see what's going on stage, and you might know what song's coming next. And when Susan does not have a guitar in her hand, it's usually one song, and that would be Shame.
Oh, yeah.
So, she put her guitar, down, and I was like, "Really? We're gonna get Shame tonight as well?" I was like, "My goodness!" I said, "We've gotten Made Up Mind, anyhow, Bound for Glory." I said, "We're getting the Shame tonight as well." And I did kind of catch her eye at that point, because some of my friends know I have a big kind of tie-dye Shame shirt that I've worn on numerous occasions, and Susan spotted it a few times in the crowd, and so she kind of pointed at me. I laughed or whatever, and was making a fool of myself, and she kind of laughed real quickly, and then of course Derek goes into the little interlude, and then just crushed it, and then he and Brandon just went off in the middle of that, and I remember somebody saying at one point, Derek's really not playing until he busts a string. That's when he's right, and then he's really getting after it. And sure enough, he blew one out during Shame. And at first, I think Bobby came over with his replacement guitar, and I don't know if he just said no or whatever. and then I think Ryan Murphy tossed him a string, and sure enough, he just sat down there and started to read. And then Brandon went off on an incredible solo. I don't know. We should call it the Derek Restring solo or something.
Right. They pick each other up.
Yeah.
Derek's got work to do. I got work to do over here. I'm doing some craftsmanship. Go floor us with your bass playing at once.
Yeah, he did. And so he just sat there right in front, restringing, and Brandon just went off and just an incredible solo. And Derek's back. I don't know. It seems like in less than 2 minutes he's restrung and retuned, and you see Falcon kind of interacting with Brandon on the solo, and it's just a nice groove. And then Derek comes back in, and then of course Susan singing her haunting vocals at the end of Shame, or just everybody knows how transcending that is. So it was a real high quality Shame. Real high quality.
High quality. It sounds like you're not like Shame the song. Yeah, you are great at describing music, which can be a challenging thing to do, and it's something that I find challenging sometimes. But that was pretty good, because there's nothing that really beats listening to the actual music or being at a show, of course. But in terms of just talking about music and having conversations about the music itself and a song and how it's performed, like that was a great recap of that song. Like you felt me. Like I know the song, so I'm like right there with you and how you describe it. I'm like, yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. I could see that. Yeah, and the song of the show, the end of the song rather, with Susan, doing her thing with that like echoey, reverby kind of howls, and it's a great song.
It really is. I mean, I remember the first time hearing it. Obviously, they played it. Gosh, maybe even a year and a half before they released it.
Right,
it was out there. They were doing that live very early. I think it was
Philly, I think was the first place, or at least the first one, or in Pennsylvania somewhere. I remember at least the one that came out. I had audio to it.
But I mean, I remember the first time I heard it live, I was just like blown away. I was like, what a great song. And didn't really know what it was, because it hadn't been released, hadn't really been talked about a whole lot. And it was incredible. I mean, I fell in love with that song the first time I heard it live, and it's been a favorite of mine, ever since. And again, these are all on video, so you can see Derek. And the lighting on that song was different than I'd ever seen. It was kind of like I don't know. It was a real cool lighting that they used that I had not seen before, and it just was
fun.
Yeah, it really was. And so you're processing Shame, and then Mike picks up his acoustic guitar. Susan picks up her the turquoise, is that a Telecaster, Stratocaster? I'm not sure exactly, but and I'm like, are we going to get a Midnight in Harlem right after that? And Derek went into My Favorite Things intro, and I maybe have heard that once before. And what really struck me about being so cool about that is Susan was kind of away from her mic singing the lyrics, a few of my favorite things, and you could just see her kind of, kind of singing to what Derek was introing. And then obviously it went into Midnight in Harlem, and even the casual fans, ooh and ah on that one, right?
Oh, for sure. It's kind of their signature song. Was that something you think that they planned? Because sometimes you do, like, because you want to only hear a vocal faintly, you'd step a certain distance from the microphone, or was it her just losing herself in the moment and singing along to Derek playing an instrumental, right, essentially?
I think you're the second you said there, Adam. Because it wasn't anybody hearing it unless you were in the front,
right,
and just kind of seeing her mouthing the words. I don't, unfortunately, the guy that did the video, he was or fortunately, his sound and everything was right back at the sound booth. So I don't think you'll see that on the video. Although,
well, that's why I'm interviewing you.
yeah, I did
Get the
try to
details.
catch. I did try to catch some of it. I did pick up my Facebook Live a little bit late on the intro, so I'm not sure if I caught that. I don't know that I caught that on the video, or if I just kind of caught that with my eye and then started the video after that. I haven't gone back and looked at that, but it was, that was cool. I had not experienced that before, so that
Fun.
was pretty exciting. That was very exciting, as a matter of fact. And then you're like, okay, it's got to be winding down now, right? I mean, we've heard just incredible set list, and each time we talk, I always, the only thing that, well, there's three things that Derek does incredibly well, right? We know play guitar, right? Lead the band, and then also craft a set list. I think, I challenge anybody that's a talent in those three areas, as much of a talent in those three areas as he is. So, the set list, I'm like, well, it's got to be, close to the end. And what could they wrap up the first set with, right? Or the set, only set, right? And lo and behold, they went into my wife's favorite song, "I Want More." So it was just another incredible version of that. And the thing that stuck out to me in that song was there's a couple little quiet points in between the getting it, and there's like one little like a quiet beat or two, and Brandon hit like a two bass note, and Derek looks over at him and like, I like, kind of the like, that was different and I liked it. It was really cool. I mean, it was a very very interesting moment. And then they went into the Soul Sacrifice outro on that. So it was just high energy. Falcon, just as usual, just pounding the drums on the Soul Sacrifice, and it was just just a great ending to the set. It was, I mean, it definitely quenched my 8-week drought.
Oh, for sure.
Was
So
amazing.
that's what they closed with. "I Want More" and "Soul Sacrifice" was what they closed that show with.
Yeah, well, that was the end of the set, and then they, thanked everybody and walked off, and a couple of people were saying, "So what do you think encore would be, or something?" I was like, "Wow, it's, long set." I thought maybe something like, "Get What You Deserve," or I don't know, something. I was just trying to, spitball, think of something, and lo and behold, they came out and started the encore with the Beatles, "I've Got a Feeling."
Nice.
Yeah, that was. I've heard that a couple of times over the years. I heard it, I think, once earlier in the summer, but never in the encore slot. So that was cool. And then they closed it out with "The Feeling Music Brings," Susan's song, and my wife and I happened to be wearing shirts that said that last night.
Oh yeah, I saw. That's right.
Yeah, but obviously it was on the set list. We just happened to be fortunate enough to be wearing those that night. And Dave Yoke came out and played with them. He played that with them to wrap up the show. And it was as everybody usually attests, they always say, as soon as they leave a show, what do we say? That was the best ever. That's the best I've ever seen.
even with 7 of them or 6 of them.
Yes, the last one you see, and frankly, that's the way I felt last night. It was so great. It was so needed, and it just was. It was spectacular, and we had a blast. We saw a few people we knew. It wasn't a ton of people that we knew from the Atlanta area. Usually we'd see more folks that we knew, but a few of our diehard friends were there, and I think a lot of them got some video and stuff. So we'll probably pass that around and see, who got what. But I'm going to load mine up to YouTube here soon. The few videos that I got. I think I got the encore. I got Anyhow, and maybe one or two others that I got. I think I maybe picked up when Derek broke his string. I thought that was kind of cool to just kind of video him kind of going to work and everything.
Sure.
With him and Brandon and stuff. So sometimes if I see something a little bit unusual that I think is, I'll grab a video of it or something like that. But that was what that was about, Adam. That was the show last night, and it was awesome. I think they played a little over maybe two hours, 15 minutes total, in one set in the encore. So it was plenty of music. Sometimes people feel like, maybe they don't get enough when it's a single set, versus the two. But I thought Derek packed it all into one set, and it was
sounds like it.
It was amazing. We did, for the first time this summer, so we went to 8 shows earlier. We didn't get to say hey to the band or anything. And last night we kind of stuck around for a few minutes and got to see Derek for just a minute. And I said, wow, that was one packed set list. I said, it was amazing what all you put into that one show. And, he just kind of said, thank you. And I did make mention of the incident with him and Brandon, with the little couple of notes that Brandon played. I said, I saw something. He goes, that was pretty interesting. Something like that. It's kind of funny, but just got to say a quick hello as he was, headed out. So it was nice to at least say hey for the first time this summer. So that was nice.
Great night all around, sounds like. I've got a feeling the feeling music brings. Maybe that was that. I don't know if that's an accident that they did those two songs. They kind of follow each other, at least in terms of the titles. They're almost like, completing each other's sentences or whatever. But thank you so much for describing all that, and for posting music, and for the music that you're going to post, the videos. I appreciate all that. And I'm looking forward to digging in more on this show and going back and listening for and watching some of those interesting behind the scenes moments. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, is to hear these details. And if we're interested in these things, because these are the things that I would kind of be looking at too. Some people are really hardcore about gear. They'll want to know what exact string and all these kinds of things. But just to see some of the behind the scenes and interactions between Mark and the band, or Derek and Brandon, and all this stuff is just what I'm here for.
Yeah,
You are a great music fan. You're a great music fan, and a great and an expert level concert goer, I feel like.
I've been doing it a long time. For a guy that doesn't play music, my sister is an excellent pianist. My dad, who passed away, was a saxophone player, but I've never played. I think I mentioned where one of my best friends was in a band, started a band when he was probably 12, 14 years old. And so I would always hang out with his band, and I'd go to, rehearsals in the basement, and just always into music, and, suggesting different songs to play, and this, just all that kind of stuff. So I've just always been a music junkie, but have no talent, have no technical knowledge. I just know what these ears and this body likes to hear. It's just again, like I said, and turning on a friend and his son, last night to seeing, TTB for the first time was, for them just to have a blast and enjoy it, makes it all the more special for, for Ann and I to share it with some friends like that, dude, that hadn't experienced it yet.
Oh, you did a great service, my friend, introducing someone to Tedeschi Trucks Band. Is there anything else we need to cover or anything like that? I mean, we could talk about what's upcoming, but things may be up in the air. We don't want to jinx the Beacon shows or any of the other shows that Lock-In, of course, is upcoming. But in terms of what you might be working on related to the band, is Ann working on more T-shirts? Of course, you guys are the T-shirt people.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
kind of
she
give you
put
the floor
yeah,
to
thanks.
share whatever you want to share.
Yeah, she put those together. There were supposed to be two shows here in Atlanta. They were supposed to play again tonight. That got canceled by the venue or something. But so she only had to make. She was going to have to make four shirts for this weekend, but it went down to two. So took
No
half of
repeats. No repeats. I
we,
gotcha.
yeah, we've recycled before. We've,
But not for the same run of
no,
shows, or not for
oh
the
no, no,
same
no,
like
no.
location, venue, or whatever.
No, so I'll certainly repeat. If I'm trying to plant the seed in Derek's mind,
Right.
here's a song
Song.
you haven't played in a long time. It's like, well,
I see what's going on.
yeah, once in a while. So it's like my buddy, his band, they're still playing. They're in their early 60s, and he's been playing with some of the same guys since they were teenagers. And so they play some shows around, and I'll make suggestions. And the bass player will want to play it. The other guy won't want. So sometimes they play stuff. And sometimes they don't. So try to sometimes subliminal messages. Other times we're just wearing stuff. Like last night, we were all about the feeling that music brings us. That's what we were. That's kind of what we were feeling. And I guess Derek was kind of feeling that too, like you said, with the 2-song encore of "I've Got a Feeling" and all that. So that was it's really cool to experience that last night. So it was great. But yeah, please check out my videos. And as my friends on Facebook know, I usually only do the Facebook Live for my friends. So, whenever we're going to, to shows, I'll usually try to, Facebook Live a couple of the songs, during the night. Love to, like I say, experience it with other people, have them, viewing it at the same time we do.
With your son, that's just great.
Yeah. Versus putting it on YouTube and, you're watching it, on a Thursday night at your house or something, Instead, we're watching at the same time on a Saturday night as it's going down, I mean, that's what I enjoy. If I'm at home, and I get on Facebook and somebody's at a show in Boston or something, and they're doing something live, I'm like, this is going on right now. That's so cool. It's different than, watching it on a Monday night or something.
Correct. Something about live makes it special.
Yeah.
Always more special.
For me, it certainly does. So, it's good stuff. Can't wait to see them live again. Don't know if we're going to get the Lock-In, next weekend or not. If we don't, we will see them the next time we see them, and that show will be the best show ever when we see the next one.
As always, my friend, as always. Well, thank you again for the time and the stories and everything. I really appreciate it. All the music that you share and capture. I'm sure many other fans appreciate it as well, but I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. I think it was a success, the first video podcast. We'll see how it looks and sounds when we listen to the videotape, but I enjoyed it, and I appreciate your time again. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day.
Well, we could talk forever, Adam. I appreciate it.
I could listen to you forever.
Well, thanks for having me again. It's nothing more. The only thing more fun than talking about our favorite band is seeing our favorite band.
You said it, my friend.
All right, have a good one.
You got it. Later. So there you go, episode 63 with David Flamm. I always enjoy catching up with David. Please be sure to check out his YouTube channel, David Flamm, 2 M's. He's got good stuff up on there. Hope everyone is doing okay during these crazy times. Please check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. And of course, remember to tap subscribe and follow on iTunes, Spotify, or via whichever way you listen to this episode. Again, positive reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts are greatly appreciated. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast is the YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Choit. The band is at TedeschiTrucksBand.com. I have another podcast, as I mentioned earlier before. It's called People We Love. Check that out at People We Love Podcast on Instagram and peoplewelovepodcast.com. Videos coming soon for that too. But I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys watching. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Later.